Come on, computer.
Through the years, we all remember when we first witnessed a national tragedy. We remember the good times and the bad times through either a song, a TV show, a monumental sports achievement, or even the smell of a particular food from when we were young. Welcome to the show that will take you on a journey through time to relive those iconic moments. Welcome to RTW Rewind, where old school rules. So, without any further delay, let's introduce you to the host of the show, Rad Rob, Rob Francois.
Hey guys, welcome back to RTW Rewind. I am your host, Radicalized Rob Francois. I hope everybody's doing well all around the world, and thank you for being here. We are live on HMG YouTube channel, as well as my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/RadRobGaming, and our Facebook page for RTW, facebook.com/RadTurtlesWrestling. I have a very special guest with me right now. He is a independent wrestler and a hell of a pizza maker. If you have not seen this guy on the Indies, I tell you, man, he's a unique fellow. Let's welcome the one and only, the incomparable Luigi Primo. Luigi, how's it going, brother?
I'm Luigi Primo. Thank you for having me on. I make a best of pizza.
Well, it's good to have you here, and you are quite the man with the pizza there, brother. We're gonna deep dive into your history. So let's start at the beginning. It's no better place to start. Where are you from originally?
That's all right. I'm from Naples, Italy, and I came to Austin, Texas, to bring my older country of pizza skills to America. And once there, I began making a pizza in the pizza restaurants, and I began refining my pro wrestling skills by training under a wrestler named Jay Sirius, or a Jojo Bravo, as he has been known alternately. And from there, I've been booked in various federations around Texas in order to wrestle and also to make a pizza, because that's another hobby of mine, is making pizza in addition to wrestling.
Who taught you how to make pizza? I mean, you're pretty talented spinning the dough there. Who trained you?
So when you work in the pizza restaurants, usually there's just some line cook who's been there for 10 or 15 years, and it was no different than me. There was a guy named Chris Savoldi, unrelated to the Savoldi wrestling family. He taught me some good throwing techniques. And also just all of the part-time and full-time line cooks. And it kind of comes together by osmosis. Lately, I've been studying the work of a guy named Juan Hermosillo, who's from Mexico. And he is known as one of the best piazzaiulos in the world. But one thing he can't do is wrestle. At least I don't think. So I have him beat there. In fact, I have most of pizza chefs beat there, because I think I'm the only pizza chef wrestler.
You're the only one that I know of. So you got that going for you. I met one of your family members. I won't say who, but they highly put you over, and said that you're wrestling for Party World Wrestling. Is that correct?
That's right. That's my home federation in Austin, Texas. We've got a show on September 25th called a Rawhide Rave. It is, of course, a cowboy electronic music themed wrestling show. So there'll probably be a lot of cowboy wrestlers, as well as myself. I'll be taking on one of my rivals, Pizza Patron from Austin, who is another rival pizza chef who does not respect the art of a pizza. So I'm hoping I can get a victory on him on that night. But that's the main one. But then I work for a lot of other ones in Texas, such as RCW in San Antonio and Hybrid Wrestling in San Antonio, as well as some places in the South, Oklahoma and Arkansas as well.
So there's another rival pizza chef wrestler out there. What are the odds of that? What are the odds of having two of you That's got to be some kind of a. Do you have a story rivalry? Is this a new thing?
Yeah,
they talk trash about you. I mean, what's the story there?
The thing about a pizza patron is he's not even really a pizza chef. He franchises these restaurants and he staffs them, but he doesn't actually make the pizzas. But he calls himself pizza patron because he thinks that just because he owns the business, he understands what it means to make a good pizza. But I know that to make a good pizza, you have to put your heart and your soul into it, as well as a good cheese and a toppings. But he doesn't even get it close to the oven. So that's why I think I can beat him in a wrestling.
Now, does he claim to be a pizza chef? I mean, does he claim to be as skilled as you are?
Yeah, he claims to be. He says he doesn't need it to because he get other people to do it for them. But when you work in a food service industry as long as I have, you learn that you have to rely on yourself. You have a people you trust to work with, but at the end of the day, say somebody comes in and has a knife and tries to rob you, you have to be the one to vault over the counter, waist lock them, suplex them, get them in the camel clutch, throw them out of the restaurant. You have to rely on yourself to do that. You might not have someone there to do it with you.
I mean, that's true. That's true. At least you're always prepared. I mean, who would not want to have you in the restaurant? Not only do you make the best pizza in the world, but you can kick everyone's ass as well.
That's right. Everybody wants me in their restaurant because I wear a wrestling singlet at all times, and it is extremely sanitary.
I can't imagine it wouldn't be. So, you remind me a lot of a character from my favorite game.
Minecraft. You're talking about a Minecraft.
Yeah, it's Minecraft. I'm a big Minecraft fan. I'm sure you get that a lot.
Yeah, people say I look like the cactus guy from a Minecraft, or from that guy from a Mario Brothers, Bowser. Is his name? Yeah, I get that. I get that a lot.
I gotcha, but definitely not this guy.
It's me, Mario.
Let's just see. Was that you who said that? Who said that?
It was just a clip my producer put in. So,
wow, that's amazing. No, but I haven't known. I had a cousin. I think his name was Mario Spaghetti or something. Gotcha. I think he would mostly cook the pasta. He didn't cook pizza as I do. So that was the main thing that it differentiated us. But people still got us confused because of the Italian and food connection.
I can see that. Although you don't.
I'm not against the pasta. To be clear, I'm not against the pasta, but I just don't make it myself.
I mean, I'm a big guy, so I like pasta. I carb load every chance they get. But again, if I really got, somebody put a gun to my head and asked me what my favorite food was, I'd tell them those cheeseburgers. But I really love pizza too. So I mean, pizza's kind of like cheeseburgers are here, and then pizza's kind of like. Yeah, right there. People listening to this have no idea what I'm talking about. But no, pizza's pretty high on my list.
Well, that's a good. And one thing you can do is you can order a pizza that has a ground beef on it. So that way it kind of satisfies both of those strata where you get the hamburger and the pizza. But it's not a hamburger, it's a pizza. You're
so smart. I don't know why I never thought of that. I mean, this is great information. I'm going to actually order a pizza with ground beef on it. Probably when we're done here.
There you go. That's all it takes to get a good pizza. Is just take a chance, and you'll be rewarded.
Is there any pizza topping that you will not eat? Is there anything that you don't like?
So I think you have to be very careful with some pizza toppings, such as a red onion. Red onion, if it's not cut thin and caramelized, it basically paralyzes your mouth when it touches it. It's a tear gas, essentially. It does not taste good, and it's a little bit dangerous. But if you get it a nice and a thin, or maybe a pre-cook it and a grill it, then it's very good. Also, anchovies, you need to make sure you use a high quality and they're relatively fresh, or else you'll turn your pizza into a garbage can. Gotcha. That you might as well just put other garbage on because nobody's going to eat it, and it's going to go in the trash.
Now, I've never eaten anchovies, but people tell me it doesn't taste fishy. It just tastes really salty. Is that true?
Salty. That's right. Yeah. That's what I've heard. I've never had it either.
Okay, that's fair. Me personally, I'm typically a pepperoni, sausage, and onion guy. But you're right about the onion thing. If they're not cooked right, I'm no good. I'm done for a couple hours. Like I have to go get some Mentos or some kind of a mint, to clear that taste out of my mouth. But I am a big fan of onions. But when typically my favorite dish that I make is onion soup, and when you cook the onions, your house smells like onions the entire day.
With a great onion comes a great responsibility. That's what my Uncle Ben always would tell me before I cooked with the onion. And then one day, he was tragically killed by a burglar close to my house. And so I went and I found the burglar, and I threw an onion in the manner of a baseball into his temple, and it didn't make me feel much better. And after that a day, I decided I would be a Spider-Man. I mean, that I would make a best pizza.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's a very similar story to what I heard. Apparently, Uncle Ben's just really have no luck when it comes to being robbed and murdered. It's an epidemic.
Yeah, if you are somebody's uncle and your name is a Ben, be very careful at night, because somebody is going to rob you, and it's probably going to go the worst possible way. So I would recommend keeping to well-lit streets.
Yeah, you think he would have saw that coming? But yeah, it's
or maybe go out with if you are married and there's an aunt part of that equation or another uncle part of that equation, maybe that can help keep you safe. But we have a saying in my restaurant: alone Uncle Ben always poorly ends. Go out with your aunt, and then you will not haunt your children. It's up on a plaque right when you get in the door, and it says that.
That's
people look at it and they say, "Oh, that's an interesting thing to have in a pizza restaurant. You have this information about people's uncles." And I say, "Yes, but you can learn as well as eating in a pizza place."
And it's quite wordy too. It must take up quite a bit of room there.
We had to get the font size pretty small, and we had to switch to a Joker Man font from the original font, which was Impact Bold, which was too big.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. What are your thoughts on the national pizza chains like Domino's, Pizza Hut, Marco's? Do they do they make decent pizza? I mean, I know it's not as good as yours, but I mean, is there a place for guys like that?
Well, I think as some people, it's all about a difference of expectations and opinions. Some people enjoy putting a trash and a garbage into their mouths. And so for them, I would say it's good to go to a Domino's or to go to a Pizza Hut. But for those who want a real Italian pizza that it tasted good and it probably won't have a glass in it or a screws or a live ammunition like they might have at a Domino's accidentally on their pizza, I would go to a Primo Ristorante Italiano. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I can't argue with that. There was one time when I went to Domino's and there was a machete in the pizza. I mean, it's just completely random. Thankfully, I didn't bite into it.
Happens every day.
It does. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. If I were to want to get into the culinary arts and become a pizzianato like yourself, what would be the best place for me to start?
Let's see. Now, I would recommend for making a pizza at a home, just to mix the dough with your hands. It takes about 45 minutes, but it's really not so bad. And then you can hand stretch the pizza, and you can put whatever you want on it, and then you just got to get the oven as hot as possible, and you'll pretty much be able to make a pizza. Now, if you have access to a commercial kitchen, your options become much broader, because if you have a dough mixer and an oven that gets to 600 or 700 degrees, then you can make a real professional quality pizza.
Dude, that's a lot of work. Can I just get DiGiorno or just order out? I mean,
I'm here to make sure that not everybody has to make the best of pizza. I make a best of pizza so that others can go about their lives. And, because not everybody has to be a pizza chef or wrestler. Some people might be into, maybe being a roller skater themed wrestler, or what other kinds of jobs are there out there? Maybe like a salesman themed wrestler. All kinds of people in this world.
What would you rather do? Would you rather make pizzas for the rest of your life or wrestle?
See, to me, it's all one unified art form of a pizza wrestling. For instance, when I'm in the ring with my opponent, usually the way that I try to defeat them is I throw them down and then I begin squeezing their trapezius muscles and kneading the dough, if you will. And that weakens the neck muscles so I can hit my finisher, the pizza cutter, which puts the oppression on the neck. And so I beaded them using a techniques I learned in the pizza restaurant. And likewise, when I'm making a good pizza, if one of my employees is causing a problem, or maybe it comes in late, or maybe it throws a knife at me, I can duck it, I can grab their arm, throw them, and do the same maneuver to them, but in the context of the pizza restaurant. So for me, you can't really have a one without the other, because basically the food service is a violence in many different ways.
I don't think I want to go to Austin if your pizza restaurants are that violent. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's always a something, you know. We get into a brawls in the back, or maybe somebody comes in and starts yelling about an evening their favor order, and in which case I usually suplex them over onto a table. Table explodes in half. That pretty much usually solves the problem, but sometimes it turns into something that takes a little more time, and we have to kind of go back and forth, and I might have to throw some elbows and some Neapolitan style uppercuts.
I'm a winner.
So you must go through a lot of tables.
Yes, we go through quite a few tables at a Primo Ristorante Italiano. We get, I would say, a new order of 4 to 6 tables every week, because they're constantly being destroyed by the brawls we have.
Hopefully you don't use any ladders, do you?
We have, but not always. We usually just have a one in the back, and we'll take it out on a special occasions, maybe to decide who gets the Thursday shift. We'll have whoever can climb to the top to sign their name in a first gets to have that shift. Usually what happens is all the tables get destroyed, but the ladders are usually pretty resilient. So we've been using the same ladder for a while.
Okay. Well, now how do the customers feel when all these Donnybrooks break out?
They do not like it. They usually flee the restaurant when a chaos explodes all around them. Some people just don't appreciate a good pizza. That's my theory, I think, as to why they leave when there's a destruction and a violence all around them.
I mean, you know, it's dinner and a show. That's you know, there's plenty of places that do that. Chuck E. Cheese does that, and you know, the Hatfields and McCoys do that in East Tennessee. So I mean, it's a wrestling match and pizza. I mean, there like you go, hand in hand, right?
That's what it says when you go into my restaurant on a wall. It says a Primo Ristorante Italiano. It's just like a Chuck E. Cheese, except with a fighting and a broken tables and a one ladder.
And no mice. I mean, hopefully no mice. The health department wouldn't like that at all.
That's all right. I typically don't mention there's a no mice, because if you say, oh, there's a no mice in my restaurant, people will assume, okay, you're saying that because you have a mice in your restaurant. So I just leave that part out. But again, it's a good thing to point out that we don't have a mice in our restaurant like they might at a Marco's or a Double Dave's or a Papa John's.
Yeah, we don't like
with a mice.
Yeah, we don't like to talk about Papa John's here. It's like cardboard with sauce on it.
Very sweaty.
Yeah.
Sweaty. Oh, that's one thing I respect about a Papa John's is their owner is a very sweaty.
Yes.
And I too get a very sweaty.
I do too, but that's because I'm fat. So you must be in pretty high demand, being the amazing pizza chef that you are. Have there been other restaurants that have tried to lure you away?
My relationship with the other pizza restaurants is a little fraught in Austin, because, you know, there's a competition, but I'm friends with some of the people who work at a Home Slice Pizza, which is a great chain here in Austin, Texas, and a Via 313, which is the Detroit. I don't know if you've ever had a Detroit style pizza.
Only at Little Caesars.
It's Detroit style pizza it's quite a good. It's kind of a challenging because it's in a square, which, you know, pizza is around was my impression, but Detroit style square pizza is actually pretty dang good. So those are places I wouldn't mind moonlighting at. You know, but I have my own business to think about, so I always have to put it at first.
I don't know if I could wrap my head around a square pizza, because, I mean, like you said, pizza is round. It's always been round. It's been round my entire life. Yeah, I've never personally been to Detroit, but I mean, nothing against Detroitians, but they're not doing it right.
The way that I do it is I pretend that there's a circle around it, and that kind of keeps me from bugging out too hard. But it's interesting that you say that, because in Detroit, you know, it's known for making cars which have round wheels, so you'd think their pizza would be round, but it's a square.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And again,
I never put that together.
I was big against them when I first find out their pizza was a square. But then I had tasted it, and it's pretty much like a opiates. You would get mad when you're done eating it because you want to eat it more.
So have you ever thought of maybe incorporating that into your pizza making style?
You know, pan pizzas are not a for me to make. I like to make a traditional hand tossed or a thin crusted Neapolitan style pizza, but I do appreciate a good pan pizza if it's done right.
The only pan pizza I ever really liked was Pizza Hut, but that was back in the 80s. It doesn't taste the same now. If I were to describe my ideal pizza now, would be a New York style. Now, I used to live in the Northeast. I lived in Connecticut for quite a while, so there were plenty of New York style pizza places there. Since I've moved to Tennessee, which is where my wife is from, a lot of people have migrated from the Northeast because, well, it's overtaxed. It's really miserable to live there, and nobody's happy. Right. So like, we got to get out of here. We're going to go down south and bring our pizza with us, and thank God for that because, man, we have some of the best New York style pizza in the entire world right here in Middle Tennessee.
So one thing, I've heard that one of the main things is the difference in the water.
That's correct.
Between the Northeast and other places. So I wonder if they've found a way around that, if they can fully replicate the flavor.
There is a place here that actually imports water from New York City.
Classic.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That's dedication to your craft.
And so I think I'm coming to Tennessee in October, I think it is. So maybe I'll check one of these places out. What's it called?
It's called Amico's Pizza. There's also 5 Points Pizza. I mean, I can take you out for a couple slices for sure. I'll show you the best that we have here, and you can compare it and contrast against your own. You know,
that sounds perfect. That's the one thing I love to do when I'm in a new state is to try newer pizzas and to find new people.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to find, right? I mean, you might be enlightened. I mean, sometimes you think you know it all about pizza, but then you find something else like you did with Detroit, and who knows? I mean, maybe you'll find a new trick of the trade.
And it could be because, some people, it's good to keep your mind open about a pizza. But I think I pretty much know it all. But maybe I can at least to pretend that I don't.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. Young Shirt in the chat says New York style for sure. But here's the elephant in the room. Mike Durban says Chicago deep dish.
Now, does he really mean that, or is he just saying it because he's heard it somewhere before?
I mean, that's possible. I mean, people are like sheep nowadays, but
because I'm not even sure if I've met somebody who says I like a Chicago deep dish because it's my favorite type of a pizza to eat. Even people from Chicago.
Well, he does from Chicago. That's okay. That.
Okay, so maybe it does. But because that was my impression was when I went to Chicago, I'm going to have the Chicago style pizza. But I was told the deep dish isn't the actual Chicago style pizza. A regular, thinner style is a more representative, whereas the deep dish is kind of like a, like a special thing.
Yeah, it's a novelty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was told too. And I asked him about that, and he thought I was crazy. But see, I don't want to eat pizza with a fork and knife. Pizza is supposed to be handheld. You're supposed to fold it, or just eat it with your hand, and you're not supposed to eat it with utensils.
How about this, though? New York or a New Jersey style of pizza?
Oh, boy. There's a fine line between the two. New Jersey pizza kind of smells like sewage, so I typically go with the New York pizza.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to a New Jersey in early October, so I will be able to better evaluate it. Last time I was there, we just went to the boardwalk and got some pizza that was just in the places the chain places that were there. But I've been told I'm going to be taken to a very special New Jersey style restaurant next time I go there and get a New Jersey pizza. I feel like I could tell the difference between them, but it was hard for me to put my finger on it. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's the subtle notes of a human waste.
Yeah, George Carlin used to say, it shouldn't be the Garden State. I mean, unless you're growing smokestacks, and the state motto should be, "Kiss her where it smells, take her to New Jersey." So that's always words that I've learned to live by. But let me know how it goes. I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I had COVID that day, and my taste and smell were off. I don't know.
That's probably what it was. Probably the 24-hour COVID.
Yeah, which happens quite a bit, especially in Florida. But anyway, so getting back to wrestling, which we haven't really talked about, because I mean, I'm a fan of pizza more than I am wrestling nowadays. What you said your finisher is a pizza cutter. Is that similar to the diamond cutter or the RKO?
It is legally distinct from the diamond cutter. I don't want to get sued.
Okay.
I do a different gesture before I do it. I get someone, I give them the chef's a kiss, and then down they go on their face.
Oh, there you go. That's not even close. So I mean, you're good there.
And with the Randy Orton, he has the thing where it's out of nowhere, whereas this has a pretty protracted and obvious setup. So I would not say it's out of nowhere. It's a very clearly from somewhere.
So do your opponents ever get to jump on you since they can see it coming a mile away? I mean, how effective is your maneuver?
I would say yes, and often. It works about 40 to 50% of the time. But when it doesn't work, the match is over. But sometimes, they'll throw me off. They'll see it coming. But I have some places I can go from there, such as step up to the middle rope, hit the crossbody. That's another way that I can win a match is by jumping onto my opponent, either from the top or the middle rope. Sometimes throw a little spin into there, or sometimes just land on them like I am topping them, like I am the topping and they are the pizza. Is how I try to think of it in that situation.
Wow, that's I never even put those two together. That makes a lot of sense physiologically. So you noticed, or you mentioned earlier about getting somebody down and kneading them like you're kneading dough. To me, that just rang a bell that maybe you should also be a masseuse. That sounds like you'd be really good at that too.
I suppose I could have tried to do a good Italian massage on a people, but I would be concerned that the strength of my hand might cause irreparable nerve damage.
Oh yeah, that deep tissue stuff. It can be brutal. Yeah,
because I'm not sure if I can hold it back once I get it going.
Yeah.
Start punishing the dough or my opponent, or that would be the difficult thing. Would be this person is my client. I'm supposed to massage them, but I had to keep being like, "Oh, I'm gonna win this match," and then I'd get intense and maybe throw on a chin lock. It would be hard for me to compartmentalize if I'm doing a movement that I only ever do when I'm making a pizza or a wrestling. It would be adding pizza, wrestling, massage, which I'm not sure if I could keep those three things in my brain at the same time. Probably something bad would happen and someone might get hurt.
Okay. Well, forget I mentioned it because that's probably a lawsuit nightmare right there. So yeah, sorry I mentioned that. Now, how do you not destroy the dough when you're making the pizza if your hands are so strong? I mean, how tough is the dough that you work with? The dough's
it's tough, and it gets tougher as you work it. So at some point, you just stop, and it's done. But really, you can't work it hard enough when you're first, when you're kneading it and you're putting it into the balls, because you're just you're trying to. There's like a structure of the protein and stuff inside it that you need to break apart and reconnect, and it creates stronger chains, which is going to give it the good chewiness. It's a really art form. You don't want to over knead it, but you have to know how much to do it and when to stop. Because people don't realize that part of the flavor of a pizza is the texture of the dough. And because that's what's going to deliver the saltiness and the sweetness that's going to be the foundation for the cheese and the toppings that make the pizza good.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, most people just assume pizza is just a carrier for the toppings. But what you're telling me now, which completely blows my mind, is that the crust and the pizza dough itself is the most important part.
That's all right. You're from the Northeast. You know that a pizza with no toppings, it's not a cheese pizza. It's a regular.
Yeah.
It's a regular pizza. And you can put a bonus things on the top of that. But a cheese pizza is the natural and ideal state of a pizza, in my opinion.
No, you're absolutely right about that. And cheese absolutely does make the difference. I've been to some places that that use fresh mozzarella. Sorry, mozzarella.
That's right. That's the correct
yeah.
Italian pronunciation.
Yes. And there's some people that, I guess, bought their cheese at Stop and Shop or Kroger or somewhere. It's not good. But cheese makes all the difference. Absolutely. 100,000%. Where do you source your cheese from?
Oh, there's some kind of a weird feedback.
Sorry. Yeah, that's strange.
Some voices in my ear. So I source my cheese. Sorry, this is feedback. Do you hear that?
No, I don't hear anything.
Okay, so I source my cheese typically from a Cisco Foods, but I only get the highest quality of mozzarella. Sorry, I'm going to try and keep going with this feedback because it's like there are the ghosts of my past talking in my ears at all times.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. That's unfortunate. Apparently, they don't have anything good to say about you either.
Or it's like a Vince McMahon giving me a production instructions during a broadcast.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how Michael Cole does it. Well, you're a pro, so hopefully you can make it through the rest of this show here.
Of course.
I do have a couple more pizza questions before we get back to wrestling. Because, I'm fascinated by this. I'm learning so many new things about pizza that I never knew before. It's incredible. Do you prefer a spicier sauce or I don't say spicy, but I like a sweet sauce. What do you like your sauce to consist of?
Before I answer that question, I've cracked the case. The problem was I had the broadcast of this interview in a different browser window. And that was creating the feedback.
That makes sense.
Sorry about that. So for me, I like it more on the tangy side instead of the sweet side. I would say I just prefer to just cross it over to the tangier and a saltier side because the cheese is so savory. I feel like that tang really helps get the flavor I want.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe I just grew up with sweet sauce. Most of the pizza places that I went to had the sweeter sauce. So, but it's all subjective. It all depends what you like. Do you like a white pizza, for example?
I do like a white pizza because it has a ricotta, which is a great source of a protein. If you have a part skim ricotta and you have, an 8 or 10 inch pizza with just a sauce and a ricotta, that's, 700 calories, 30 grams of a protein. You're good.
Now, what about an Alfredo pizza?
It's good. It's a bit it's very savory, and it's hard to mass produce the Alfredo sauce and have it be a good because you kind of have to cook it in a pan.
Yeah.
So it's hard to put that on your menu because it's hard to keep that a pan unless you have some special thing with a preservatives. I've found making a homemade Alfredo doesn't really keep in such a way to where you can serve it off of the line. But that's just my experience. Delicious if you can make it work.
Yeah, that's fair. What about some of the novelty pizzas we've seen lately, like say a buffalo chicken pizza? Do you like a spicy sauce on your pizza like that?
So I respect this country as much as the next person, but I don't see why we need to put the buffalo wings on the pizza. I don't think that honors our forefathers. I just think it disrespects the buffalo wings by putting bones on a pizza because then when you take a bite out of it, you bite into the bones and you can get it lodged into your throat.
Yeah.
So to me, that's not respectful of our veterans.
No, I absolutely agree with that. What about a barbecue pizza?
So, there's a lot of different things that can be considered a sauce. And some of those choices are correct and some are incorrect. An incorrect choice would be to put a barbecue sauce on a pizza because it's basically like putting a candy on a pizza. You're going to eliminate the craftsmanship and the flavor of a real Italian pizza. If you just want to have a barbecue, just have a barbecue or eat your kid's cuisine and dip it in a Casey masterpiece or whatever thing you would do.
Well, you're a wrestling fan and you are a wrestler. So I put JR's barbecue sauce on my pizza and I tell you, it is actually very good.
I'm caught between not wanting to disrespect JR and my abhorrence for a barbecue sauce pizza.
Okay, that's fair.
I would say I would say for that a pizza, you can dip sparingly into it out of respect for a JR. But don't slather the pizza in it, because I'm not even sure if his announcing skills can save that a match. I mean, a pizza.
That's very true. Luigi, what are your career aspirations in wrestling? Do you enjoy having the freedom on the indie circuit to kind of travel around from town to town? I mean, almost like the old territory days. Or would you like to be in a WWE or NXT or AEW or Impact or Ring of Honor or New Japan or any of the bigger companies?
I would have definitely loved to get a contract with one of the bigger wrestling companies. Being a independent artist for many years, I feel like I've learned that you just have to try. And like I was saying, when you work in a pizza restaurant, you have to go and fight the people that try and attack you. You have to kind of make your own niche. You can't really expect to necessarily go to any particular place. So I definitely haven't ruled out those goals, but the goal that I strive for is to have be self-sustaining with things as they are now, which is I can get a book for shows. People can buy my pizza and my merch and get enough of that going to where I'll be able to keep running my business and have it be my only job.
That makes sense. No, that makes
sense. And if that rolls into a larger contract, that's great. But if it doesn't, at least I will be able to have something on my own terms. The people that I kind of look up to in the industry would be like, like a Danhausen or a Effie, people who pretty much have done things on their own terms. And, eventually Danhausen got his contract just by being such a man about a town. And I imagine that at some point Effie will get an offer somewhere if he hasn't already, but he's doing pretty good as far as I can tell.
Yeah, and somehow Joey Janela got a contract, and I can't understand why.
I'm less familiar with his work.
That's fair. Most people are too. Would Vince McMahon ever allow you to make pizza? I mean, he's not. I don't want to say he doesn't like pizza, but I mean, you've seen his gimmicks from the past. He had a trash guy. He had a Native American. He had a goon. He had a couple hockey players. I don't think pizza would fit right in there. He's kind of sports oriented.
Yeah, that's a good point. I might have to make a football pizza or something where I make the XFL pizza. Change.
No, don't mention
those.
Oh,
no. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Call.
Yeah, he would like.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if Vince McMahon saw me in action, he'd probably chuckle somewhat. I don't know if he'd give me a contract, but I think he'd appreciate how much I make a pizza.
I mean, you're passionate about it. I mean, make that pizza, pal. Yeah. Put those toppings on it, pal. Oh, yeah. Work that dough. Work that dough, pal. Yeah, that's right. Put the sauce on it. Put the sauce on it. God damn it, pal. Yeah. No, I don't think he would like it. Yeah.
I think that's probably how the conversation would go.
Probably so.
And I would probably just do exactly what he's saying because I wouldn't have any way to really respond to that.
Yeah, he's pretty intimidating.
It's I would always wonder when people go into their office and his office and he's kind of ranting out of them, how you react with that. I guess it's sort of a social exercise that I do for myself.
Would you get performance anxiety if he made you, try to make a pizza right on the spot?
Good question. Yeah, if I would, where I try to make a pizza really hard and then I throw up.
Yeah.
And he screams, "He's gonna make a pizza," but then I throw up.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awkward. Luigi, I super appreciate you being here. We definitely have to get back and do this again. I know we did a lot of pizza talk here. We'll have to have you back and talk a little bit more wrestling because that is the other half of what you do.
That's right. Yes, I love wrestling and talking about wrestling. As you say, we focused on a lot of pizza a day, but I'm always happy to come back and make more pizza.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm a big guy, so food's always going to be my number one priority. See, that just, I'm not going to lie, that gets me a little hot. So that's I'm just going to say
This is
that's
a good thing to do to distract your opponent, and then, bam, when they at least expect it.
I mean, you got it all. You got it all. I mean, what can't Luigi Primo do?
Massage, apparently. But other
Yeah.
than that, I can make a good pizza, and I can wrestle, and I can make a good pizza while wrestling. Those, I would say, are my three strongest attributes.
Where can we find you on social media, and let everybody know where they can find you? If you have any merch, and any kind of websites, let everybody know where they can get things, all things Primo.
You can follow me on a Twitter at Best Pizza Chef. I'm on an Instagram, Luigi Primo, PWR. My web store is luigiprimo.bigcartel.com. Got a shirts, a stickers, postcards, even printed pizza boxes that I can send you and put your order in if you so choose. And I'm a wrestling for those in Texas. I'm a wrestling on the 21st at a hybrid school of wrestling in San Antonio. And then on the 28th in NCWO in McAlester, Oklahoma.
Wow, good deal.
Those are my two next dates.
Well, anybody in that area, definitely go and check out Luigi Primo, and maybe he'll sign a pizza for you. Do you autograph pizzas, or is that unsanitary?
Well, I don't want to put the Sharpie on the crust because
Yeah.
I think that would affect the taste. But I can definitely do it to the box or anything else that you would bring that you're not going to eat.
Okay, I'm glad we cleared that up, because I mean, I don't want people, having you sign their pizza.
That's right. Yeah, then they choke or they inhale it and get an SSD. That's a sudden sniffing of death.
Yeah, nobody. That's one of the most horrible ways to die. So I wouldn't wish that on anybody, even the other pizza guy that wants to take you out.
Yes, me neither. I want to beat him with a good old country of wrestling on September 25th at a Rawhide Rave in Austin, Texas.
Luigi, I appreciate you being here, brother. Hang tight. There's a couple of questions I want to ask you about some other forms of pizza. So I'll do the wrap up here, and you just hang tight. I'm going to put you in the green room.
We got it. Thanks, Rob. Great at talking.
Yes, sir. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Luigi Primo. He is quite a talker, quite a character, and like he said, a hell of a pizza maker and a fantastic wrestler. Anybody in the Austin, Texas area, please check him out at the dates he said. Check him out at the website and on Twitter. He is absolutely entertaining. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I am at Rad Rob Gaming. You can check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Rad Rob Gaming. I stream every Tuesday and Saturday night, 6 p.m. Central. And you can check out my YouTube gaming page called Rad Rob Gaming. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, we are at RTWBrand, or you can send us an email, radturtleswrestling@gmail.com. Coming up next week, we got another fantastic show. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, but you're absolutely going to enjoy the guests that we have. So definitely tune in for that. I know it doesn't give you much information, but I can't give you any spoilers, but it's going to be big. Trust me. Not bigger than Luigi, obviously, because I mean, he is the star of the show. But definitely tune in next week right here on RTW Rewind, on HMG, on Realm, and the Rad Rob Radio Network. Take care, guys.